5:31 p.m. It's 20 minutes to 3. Beautiful sounds from the Kingdom of Tonga. All right, and every Tuesday at this time, we have the Pacifico Health Talanoa with Palangi Spirit and Mafi Funaki Tahiforte from the Pacific Heartbeat of the Heart Foundation. Bulavinaka, ladies.
Bulavinaka ne mai malolele, talofalava, Kiorana, talohani, fraloflayat, and warm Pacific greetings to everybody on air. And hello to you, malolele, palangisu.
And hello from Palangisu. Hope everybody's siki tato today, and good to be back. Yeah, nice to see you too, Muffy and Namai.
Yeah, great to be back, and as we've said in our last Pacifica Health Talanoa, that this week we will be talking more around the foods that we have. But I know that Palangisu, through the courses run by Pacific Heartbeat of the Heart Foundation around nutrition, around food, that those that do come to those courses talk about eating healthy. But what does that mean?
Well, I think what they mean, Muffy, is that they are eating from 4 big groups or 4 special types of foods every day. So I think that means, eating healthy.
Yeah. So is that kind of like, I know growing up, myself in Tonga in home economics, we got taught these food groups that if you eat foods from this group, it will give you energy.
Yes.
So have those. It gives you energy.
Yeah.
And then I remember we also talked about foods that give you growth and repair and everything. So is that kind of like those 4 food groups? But I can't remember. I don't think 4. It was 33.
Yeah, you've got 2 out of 4, Muffy. So completely on the right track. Yeah, so that's the 4 food groups. We've got a lovely little pamphlet here that Pacific Heartbeat has produced called Eat for Health, which you can order from the Heart Foundation website. And so the first food group is the one that you were just talking about, Muffy, that gives us energy, gives us a lot of energy, and that's what we call our grain foods, and foods that come from grains. And really, do you know what a grain is, Muffy? Because I know a lot of people don't seem to know, what they look like. And
I think a lot we would call it wheat there in Tongan, or wheat.
The wheat grain, yes, that's one of them. So they're like little tiny seeds. And when they still have the shell around them, that's the good bit. And they've got the starch on the inside of the seed, and then they've got the roughage, the good stuff on the outside. So that's the grain. So that's one of the groups, So that gives us energy, sure.
Also, when we usually have curry, we have with rice. So that's
another very common grain, And when the rice has still got the shell on it, that's the brown rice. And I've got a picture of I've got a example of a brown rice here, so it's still got that shell on. But when they have machined off the shell, that's the white rice, So that's 2 of the grains. Can you guess the last one that's very common?
Give me a clue.
Dinner. Breakfast in the winter time.
Porridge.
Yes, very good, Muffy. So the third common grain is rolled oats. So that's what we make our porridge out of. Yeah, very, very, very good for us.
So rolled oats or porridge is the same thing?
Yes. So I've got a bag here. This is just the Pam's one. So that's what it looks like, the rolled oats. Yeah, very cheap too. So that's one of the food groups. And the other one you mentioned was the one that
makes us grow, also repair.
Yes. So that's another group, and that's the food group that has our favourite, or I know it's the Pacific favourite, is the meat in it. So that's all our red meat and our chicken.
Puaka,
polo,
bovi.
All the favourites.
Fish.
Yes.
Fish is in there.
Fish is in that group. And seafood, another favourite, isn't it? Another Pacific favourite.
Mussels will be in there.
And mussels would be in there. They're a great one. And also chicken. Eggs,
tinned fish,
yes, and there is another a couple of foods in there which aren't very common for people, even for Palangis really, and that's our dried beans and lentils. And they call them legumes. So I've just got a couple of examples here. Do you know one common one, Muffy?
What I can see from the tins you've got on the table, Palangisu, we've got baked beans. That's quite
Yes.
common.
So
Yeah,
that's
to have
in-
it for breakfast.
Yes.
You can have it any time of the day.
So this is in this food group as well. So we can substitute this for meat,
Yeah.
having these dried beans and lentils. And
So rather than, so if you're, for example, having chicken in there, you can halve the chicken, and in place of the chicken, you can put beans, and you've got chickpeas in this can.
yes. Yep.
And beans. You've got
Yes.
chili beans.
Chili beans, and that's a lovely one to go with, say, mince. Meat's very expensive, so if you want to just save on the budget a little bit, cut down on the mince and just dump in a can of
Yeah.
chili beans. It's really delicious. And
Because how much is
And-
mince per kilo, per kilogram?
is it about 13?
Yeah,
$13
13,
a
14
kilo? Yeah.
dollars a kilo, and this can be on sale for $1.
Yeah, or a little bit, yeah, normally $1. Yeah, especially the home brand, which is just as good.
So $1
Yeah.
compared to 13. Gosh, you're saving $12
I know,
already.
I know. And it's delicious. And I know these chickpeas, these go lovely with lamb curry, and I know Pacific love curries.
Yeah.
And so chicken curry, lamb curry, you can just put a tin of those in, or the lentils. There's tins. Very easy, just crack the top off and dip them in.
Yeah.
Yeah, really easy. So that's another part of that food group.
group.
Yeah,
And that's for growing and
growth and
repairing
repair. Yeah,
the body.
but there's two more groups. Muffy, want to have a guess of one of the others?
I know the ones that we grow up in the islands. If you're sick, to have a bit of that soup, vegetable soup with beef or some meat.
So you're
vegetables.
saying vegetables, perfect. And what else do you think
Oh,
would go with the vegetables in that group?
Oranges, fruit.
Yeah, so that's the third group, is your fruit and vegetables. So within that group, I know it's all the favourite starchy vegetables that Pacific love, like the kalo and the cassava and the
Yam, kumara,
potato.
I think, we've also got pumpkin.
Yes.
But a lot of our Pacific think that pumpkin is a starchy vegetables, but it's not a starchy vegetables like we have of our taro. So
That's right.
be great. It's like probably same as carrots and broccoli, cauliflower, taro leaves.
So it's all those really colourful ones, all those colours of the rainbow, and they are just fantastic for us, and they don't have any calories or hardly any calories or energy in them, so they don't put on weight, Muffy, whereas too much kalo or too much potato or kumara, that can put on. We're not
Yeah.
growing any taller, we're just
Yeah.
growing out this way a bit. Yeah.
So this is a group that is compared to the other food groups, to the other two food groups you've spoken about. So we can have as much of those because it doesn't put on weight. So awesome.
Yes.
But I
yes.
hear that to some people it makes your skin smooth and a bit more moisture. So you don't really have to use moisturizer, do you? Just eat lots of vegetables and fruit.
Yeah, because very, very good for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah.
So
and
So that's
the
the third food group.
yeah.
So have one more guess, Muffy. What you think the last one is?
But the bones, the milk.
The milk, yes, yes. We've got the milk and the products the things that are made out of milk. So that would be our cheese and our yogurt, cottage cheese, things like that. So that's our 4 food groups. Yeah. and
Yeah, so the Pacifica Health Talanoa, when we are asked about how do I eat healthy, if we eat from the 4 food groups that we've shared today, so then I can feel good about myself that I am feeding my family with healthy foods, making sure that I eat with the colours of the rainbow
Yes.
across those 4 food
Yes,
groups.
yes.
And remind me again, what are they?
They're the grains, the grain foods.
Grains.
So we've got our rice, and the best one is the brown rice, till it's still got the shell on it. Then we've got our porridge, our rolled oats, and then we've got, what's our last one? Our wheat, which makes wheat bix, and it also makes our brown bread and our whole grain breads, can make our pasta and our noodles, and spaghetti, things like that. So that's one, the grains.
Yeah, and then the next one in our pamphlet is vegetables and fruit.
Yes, and the colourful ones are probably the ones we can really amp up on, because they don't put on the weight. But I just wanted to mention there, Muffy, we've got our fresh fruit there. We've got an apple and we've got a mandarin, but we can also use frozen vegetables. They're just as good as the fresh ones, and I think a lot of people don't realise that, and quite often they're on special as well at the supermarket, and you can just snip the corner and tip it in. So a really good trick, and this is, I don't know how this is going to go down, Muffy, but I know how Pacific love their pisupo.
Yeah, you've got your can of pisupo or Pacific corned
I'm going
beef
to make everybody
in this
hungry
case.
now. But if you want to warm up the can and drain off the fat, and then just in the frying pan, and add your frozen vegetables, have it with your kala or whatever you feel like, your rice or whatever. That makes a really quick and easy meal. So these are just as good. And also the canned fruits, they're a good option as well. I mean, fresh is wonderful because it's got, with the skin on, it's got all that roughage in it, which is good for our digestives. It's good for the free flow through the digestive system. But these canned ones are great as well.
And especially if they are expensive, they're not in season.
Yes.
And those in the canned ones. And if you choose, I think the ones that are in juice, they'll have not the added sugar as you do in like syrup and syrup.
And what could you do just to reduce the sugar? Because some of them are very sugary, aren't they?
Yeah.
So what do you reckon we
I
could
think
do,
people
Muffy?
just drain, not actually have the juice
Yes.
at all, just the actual fruit itself.
Yes.
Some do wash it out.
Yeah. So drain the juice. That's a good
drain the
idea.
juice.
And
Yeah. And just have the
sad,
fruit.
but tip it down the sink rather than down our throats. But it's
Exactly.
really nice, the drained fruit on the porridge, on that grain. Yep.
Yeah.
So that was our second
Yeah.
one.
And then the third food group are our milk and anything made from milk. And I
Yes.
see that on our table here. We've
Yes.
got a couple of empty bottles of milk. And I see that they're different coloured tops as well.
Yes.
So it does mean something when they're different colours?
Yes. So milk has got milk in it, but it's also got cream in it, and so that's the fat in the milk, and that's not quite so good for us. You know, a little bit's okay, but this one here, probably everybody's favourite, but that's got a lot more cream
dark
in
blue
it.
top
Yeah,
milk.
the dark blue top. With these other ones, they've taken out some of the cream, so there's more of the milk. And what's milk got in it that's good for us, Muffy?
Good for our teeth and bone is our calcium or calcium.
Yes.
And what they've noticed as well is that the amount of fat or cream is
Yes.
highest in the dark blue
Yes.
top milk, and then less in the light blue,
Yes.
and
Even less.
a lot less
Yes.
in the light green. But the calcium goes the other way.
Yes.
It's got the most in the light green,
Most.
and then down to
Little
the
bit
light
less.
blue, and then much less in the dark blue. So
And this yellow one, which is good for our older generators, it's got double the calcium in it, but I know it's a little bit expensive
A little bit more
sometimes,
expensive.
But these are a great option, yeah.
yeah.
And if you don't want to tell anybody in your family, this is what you can do, except for they're probably watching Facebook.
And
You
they
just swatch the
remember-
caps over.
And I remember one of the mothers that had done one of the nutrition courses
She
at
had.
Pacific Heartbeat had done that swap for the husband and the children.
She had.
And how did the husband take it with the children?
The husband said there was no way he was going to swap to light blue milk, so she just quietly swapped the caps, you know, put the light blue cap on the dark blue milk, and he said, yep, see, I really like this dark blue milk, and he was drinking the light blue, so he didn't even notice. So that's a naughty trick. But as well as our milks, we've got the things made from milk, is our yogurts. Actually, this is the one that I like buying because it's got a bit less sugar in it, but it's got a bit of fruit in it, so it's still lovely. That's a nice substitute for cream. It's a lot less fat in it and more calcium in it, which is great for our bones. And also our Edam cheese is made from milk, and it's just got a little bit less fat than the Colby, which is often the favourites, isn't it, Muffy?
And this is us talking about hard cheeses or cheeses that are hard and solid,
Yes.
not the ones that are creamy. So the creamier cheeses got higher
A lot
fat
of
in
cream,
them.
yes.
But what we're comparing is comparing the hard cheeses, so the Edam's has the less
Yes.
amount of fat.
Yes,
Yeah.
so these are a good choice, yeah. And if you find, and they are expensive, and so if you find the family is using a lot of cheese, one tip is to grate it, and so you can just sprinkle it on the bread and the toast rather than big hunks of it, because I know
Good
it is
tip,
expensive, yeah. So that was our third one, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Our
and then the
one?
last one is our meat with our fish, with our
Yep.
beans and our lentils. And
Yes, so we've got an egg here, and we've
And
got some
eggs.
chicken, and we've got some fish, and I've got a nice pork chop without the fat, and of course, remember these ones are in that group as well.
Our
those-
cans of beans
Yep.
and chickpeas and so forth,
Yeah.
which they are much cheaper if you're comparing per kilogram to actual meat and fish.
Yes.
They are a lot more expensive.
Yes.
So if you want to save money, go
Yes.
plant.
Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome. And I think we've talked about the 4 food groups, what they are.
Yes.
But I think it will be great for our Pacific communities to know why would I need to actually eat from the 4 food groups, Palangi soup?
Okay, so why, Muffy? Have a guess. Why would we need the grains? Why do you think we need our grain foods?
I think we need it for energy, but I think overall, if we're looking at our health of our Pacifica people, they are growing bigger as well as other New Zealanders. So eating from the 4 food groups, we've talked about less fat, the varieties, the colour, they will get us to lose weight. And I think you've mentioned some of those that had done our Pacific Heartbeat courses, apply the 4 food groups, and they've actually lost weight, and the joints, the pain on the joints gone.
Yes.
Some of those,
Yes.
I think, would be great as
so
benefits.
That it is, yeah. And I think proof's in the pudding, as they say. So to try it yourself and see how you get on, and you can report back to us if you like.
Also, I think our time is up, but we've got a lot to actually talk about in our Pacifica Health Talanoa. But I know that next time we'll talk more about how much that we should have from those 4 food groups, and link it back to why it is important for our Pacifica families to actually eat from the 4 food groups. But I know that we do have a prize draw.
Awesome, Muffy.
Not a prize draw, but we are calling up for caller number 7. If that person call through, they'll receive a
$50 pack and save voucher.
and they can then take the $50 pack and save voucher and purchase from the 4 food groups.
Yeah, that's a really cool idea. Yeah. So
Great,
Otherwise,
Talanoa. Yay. All right, so Pacifica Health proudly brought to you by Pacific Heartbeat of the Heart Foundation.
Fast and Furious, Hobbs and Shaw.
I'm what you call an ice cold can of whoop ass.
See Dwayne Johnson and Jason Statham team up.
I'm what you might call a champagne problem.
Listen in this week to Pacific Breakfast with Brian and Mabel to win tickets.
Let's do this.
Fast and Furious,